Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We are revisiting the epic tale of Vyomasura Vadha. But we're not just looking at it as some dusty historical or mythological event. No, we're exploring the hidden theft, that creeping spiritual emptiness, and the psychological traps we literally all fall into. It's a profound narrative that holds a mirror right up to our modern lives.
So, what if the greatest demons we face are actually just the hidden emptiness within our own minds? Think about that for a second. We usually picture demons as these, terrifying external monsters. But when we really stop and look at our own modern experiences, those moments of intense isolation, or the times we feel completely disconnected from reality or our own purpose, it begins to feel a whole lot like we're battling an invisible force. And we're going to see exactly how this ancient narrative captures that exact internal struggle.
And this brilliantly illustrates our approach for this explainer. We're going to be walking on a dual track here. On one side, we have the myth, the literal story of Vyomasura. He's the sky demon, a disguised servant of the evil king Kamsa sent to just cause total havoc. But on the other side, we have the mind. This is what the demon actually represents: mental illusion, spiritual emptiness, and a really tragic loss of awareness. Everything that happens to the characters in this physical story is a perfect, striking allegory for human psychology.
Section 1. The Illusion of Life's Game.
Let's set the stage a bit. Out in the glowing, beautiful hills and caves of Vrindavan, Krishna and the cowherd boys are playing this wonderfully innocent game. They're pretending to be shepherds, sheep, and thieves trying to steal the sheep away. There's laughter just echoing through the valleys. But, hidden just out of sight, watching this joyful game, is a servant of Kamsa. The demon Vyomasura has arrived. He's cloaked in deception, lurking right on the very edge of their awareness, just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The text gives us a pretty profound warning here. It says, life itself can become confusing, like a game of illusion. Without spiritual awareness, the soul forgets its true purpose. This innocent game the boys are playing, it's a direct reflection of how we live in the real world. We get totally absorbed in our daily games, our temporary roles, our jobs, our social identities. The world is just constantly distracting our minds. And, just like the boys playing out in the hills, when we get too caught up in the temporary game, we become completely unaware of the spiritual emptiness quietly creeping up on us.
Section 2. The Sky Demon's Trap and the Anatomy of Isolation.
Let's move to and see how this builds. This timeline tracks Vyomasura's past lives, and it shows us exactly how a soul gradually degrades into darkness. First, it starts with an obsession with secrecy and hidden control. Second, this manipulation leads to actively isolating others, creating all this confusion in their lives. Third, because of this massive disconnection from truth, his consciousness gradually becomes empty and dark, literally like the vast, lonely sky. And finally, step 4, this total spiritual emptiness transforms him entirely into a demon. It's a chilling progression of how vulnerability to darkness grows the moment we cut ourselves off from truth. So, what does this demon actually do when he gets to Vrindavan? Well, disguised flawlessly as just another cowherd boy playing the game, Vyomasura gets to work. Now, there's something almost absurdly funny about a giant cosmic demon having to play hide-and-seek with children just to pull off his evil plot. But the reality of what happens next is terrifying. One by one, he secretly carries away the boys. He takes them deep into the mountains, throws them into these dark, isolated caves, and seals the entrances shut with giant, immovable stones. Imagine the terror of that. The boys are completely helpless, crying out from the darkness, violently separated from Krishna and their joyful life, all while the demon sneaks right back into the game, acting like nothing is wrong.
Now, let's bring this right back to you and me. These are the modern forms of Vyomasura. Those sealed mountain caves, they are profound metaphors for spiritual isolation. When we experience depression without any spiritual grounding, when we're consumed by false distractions, caught in addiction, or suffering from deep emotional isolation and the loss of meaningful connection, well, we're trapped in the cave. The demon of mental illusion has pulled us away from our source of joy, rolled a massive heavy stone over the entrance, and just left us feeling completely alone in the dark.
Section 3. Confronting the hidden darkness and exposing the illusion.
So what happens when our consciousness becomes entirely disconnected from truth? When we're stuck in that cave of false identity, and the illusion is so complete that we can't save ourselves, how does the darkness finally get exposed?
In the story, the answer comes fast. Krishna notices the disappearances. His eyes turn serious. He sees right through the illusion, steps forward, and suddenly seizes the disguised cowherd boy. The game is over. Caught by the Supreme, Vyomasura can no longer hide. He instantly drops his disguise and reveals his true, terrifying form, swelling up into the sky as huge as a mountain. A massive, violent battle erupts, literally shaking the hills of Vrindavan, as Krishna grabs hold of this colossal demon, gripping him as firmly as a lion capturing a wolf.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide and this definition we're looking at is that Krishna's attack on the demon isn't just physical combat. It's the ultimate truth colliding with illusion. Divine consciousness is the force that exposes hidden mental darkness. It violently strips away the false identity the demon used to hide himself. When truth steps in, the disguise just fails. The illusion is forced out into the light, which is absolutely the very first step in restoring our lost awareness.
Section 4. Liberating the trapped soul and breaking the caves. With unimaginable power, Krishna throws the mountain-sized demon down to the earth, destroying him completely. The source of the illusion is utterly defeated, but Krishna doesn't stop there. He immediately goes straight to the mountains, shatters those giant stones blocking the caves, and breaks open the entrances. The trapped cowherd boys, who had been crying out in the darkness, rush out joyfully, running back into the light to be reunited with Krishna.
We're looking at two kinds of rescue here. The physical rescue is obvious, the boys being freed from the crushing weight of the mountain caves. But the spiritual rescue is what this truly represents for us. It's the rescue of our consciousness from confusion, from paralyzing fear, from that deep inner emptiness, and from the illusion of life's temporary games. When the stones of our false identities are broken, spiritual connection rushes back in, bringing life and joy right back with it.
Section 5. The path to reconnection and dissolving the illusion.
Beneath the starlit Vrindavan sky, the sages explain what happens next in the aftermath. As Vyomasura falls, his dark energy literally dissolves into light. It just vanishes. The sages explain that because the demon represents the mind disconnected from God, his darkness actually had no real substance. Illusion simply cannot survive in the presence of divine truth. Without spiritual grounding, our consciousness gets lost in emptiness for sure, but the moment truth is introduced, that emptiness just dissolves.
So the crucial point is how we actually apply this. We obviously don't want to get trapped in the cave to begin with, and the text provides a really clear, actionable map for this, known as bhakti, or devotional service. First, chanting, then prayer, satsang, which is gathering with spiritually minded people, devotion, and remembrance of Krishna. These aren't just empty rituals, they are the active practices that keep us grounded. They are the tether that stops our minds from drifting off into the empty sky of illusion, preventing spiritual isolation from ever taking root.
I want to leave you with this final, incredibly powerful quote from the source material. Nothing can truly separate the soul from divine love forever. Vyomasura tried his absolute hardest to completely isolate the boys in the darkest corners of the earth, but the divine always enters the cave. It makes you wonder, as we wrap up this explainer, what hidden caves within your own mind do you need to shine a light into today? Where is the illusion hiding in your life, just waiting to be exposed by truth? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating text with me. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.